Welcome to the How Aston Villa Won podcast, where we relive the glory years of Aston Villa. Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. Welcome back to the How Aston Villa Won podcast. I'm Martin and I'm joined again by Af. Say hello to the people, Af.
Mate, I've been in the pub since about 4:30 in the morning, ready for this episode. Because you know what episode it is.
I do indeed.
Yeah.
It's Derby Day.
It's Smallheath away.
Come on! It's come to that time. And so, listeners, we've chosen to purely focus on Blues for this episode.
Just the one game.
One game
from the 81-80 season.
Yeah.
80-81 season.
Either which way.
See, I've been in the pub since 4:30. My words are all over the shop, you know?
Yeah, no judgment here, mate.
Guinness
no judgment.
Distillery in Dublin.
It's okay, you're with friends. You're with friends here.
True.
Yeah, with your tribe.
That's what you need on Derby Day. You can't be going into it Han Solo. You've got to be.
No.
You've got to have your tribe. You've got to have your people there.
Yeah.
They're going to have your back.
Because it could go either which way.
Yeah,
as we often found ourselves.
Oh my god. I genuinely, I'm so buzzing for this episode. You're nervous.
I've got footage. I am a bit nervous.
You're nervous.
I am nervous.
Because of the amount of anecdotes and stories I've got.
It's the alcohol.
Let's go. Well, the alcohol consumption is regrettable.
Unhelpful.
No, it's helpful and it's unhelpful. That's the glorious thing about Derby Day. It's just illogical. It's nonsensical. It's just hatred.
But you're not.
We hate them. They hate us, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
But again,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
But it's that knife edge because it matters so much. If it didn't matter, if it was another game, it's whatever. It's whoever.
Yeah.
The fact that you can't, or I'm taking it back now. I couldn't walk back into school, or you knew what the conversations would be like for me as a Brumby grown up. And even now, you're at work, blue noses, whatever. It's conversation points. Therefore, it's about local pride, and it's the thing about the kids that don't get it these days. They're running around in Man City shirts. Yeah. Well, no one had a Man City shirt back in the day, but I suppose they're glory hunting for whoever was big at the time. But they don't get that same local bragging rights battle that we feel about.
And even that's changed now. I mean, their traditional rivalry with Man United, because Man United are that bad, or have been recently, is now shifted to Liverpool.
But then Man U and Liverpool got their history. So even when Liverpool weren't fighting, for the title, there was still that big battle with those teams from the northwest. They said the historic battle. But Man U have had loads of biggest battles. So Arsenal, it was Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea. For the league title,
rivalries,
and then Liverpool were still always there. Liverpool now have usurped Man United, but they need to get a few league titles and things like that to really cement their place again.
But in terms of football derbies, I mean, I just spoke to you off air about obviously you've got various sort of Celtic, sort of.
Rangers Old Firm,
and you've been to a Celtic goal. Rangers. I'm very jealous of that,
mate.
Very jealous.
I would definitely say go. I'd go. So I went right. We're going to start with it. We'll come back to the game. We'll come back to the game.
We've gone for the sandwich option, haven't we? We've gone for the sandwich option. So we'll go Derby Day. Then we'll go to the Blues 81. Yeah. And then 80-81, and then we'll come back to.
Okay.
But go. So, talk to me about your day.
So I went to my wife's side, or Celtic. Her dad's dad grew up in Glasgow from an Irish family, and
I've met her dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he'll only wear green. He'll only wear green. You talk about take it seriously. If you wear, our door was blue. We moved house. And he's like, oh, got a blue door.
You got a blue door.
If you wear orange, he doesn't like you wearing orange. Saying the links, you can't have orange, you can't have blue. And
a blue vest right now. What are you doing?
People can't see that now. Grass,
but it's a Villa one. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll go with it. I've got my Villa top here.
Yeah, exactly.
He. If I say Rangers Celtic, he tells me off for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, he's on you.
Yeah.
So I went with them. It was the September 2016 because Ed was born that month.
Right.
And we went up to Glasgow with Laz's family, and she was heavily pregnant, obviously, because she was 2 weeks off birthing.
And you thought, you know what, I'm going firm. Yeah. That's...
And not only that, we went to Celtic the musical that night. So we won 5-1 and went to Celtic the musical when everyone was in 5-4.
Absolute
so
scenes.
I went with her brothers and her dad. And I'd been to a friendly one friendly. But this was like the only time I went to a proper league fixture, and I got a ticket on my own. I had to wear, it was scorching hot, but I had to keep my hoodie on because I put a Jack Wills top on, not really thinking. On the back of it is a Union flag. So I'm having to keep my jacket on because I'm on my own in amongst these Celtic fans, right in the corner where they're standing, right where the ultras are. And of course, 5-1. I didn't need to anyone. It was but even before we went in half, right, they had these big metal barriers that separated the fans, and they're banging across there. It's like gorillas, like and it was honestly like another world. It was like being in like Latin America or something like that.
As teachers, obviously we condone all of that behaviour.
Don't condone
professionally. Sorry, we don't.
Come on, get the right side of the fence.
I know. I've been in the pub since 4:30 in the morning, mate. You know what I mean?
Welcome.
Derby day.
You're welcome.
But this is the thing. We don't condone it. Obviously, as teachers, as upstanding practitioners of the next generation of kids, we're constantly trying to,
instill the
evolve
practice and get people to think and talk.
Absolutely, try and settle differences by talking. And then Derby Day comes, and that goes all out the window because ultimately, I mean, the reason I raised the Celtic Rangers one is because I think it's comparable because of all the derbies we've got, the great derbies that we've got in this amazing country, amazing sort of football heritage this country has. That's the only one comparable for me to Villa Blues.
Yeah.
But even Celtic Rangers is a very... you've got sort of dark lines of sectarianism and very much religious divides within that.
But also that sense of independence, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Irish independence originally in some senses, but now Scottish independence and unionism.
And you've got all this sectarianism and all this hatred, all this very extremist political views being projected front and centre. At 12 o'clock, no doubt, on a Saturday
Sunday.
or on a Sunday, in the middle of Glasgow, and it's but for me, that level of hatred is only comparable with Villa Blues, and Villa Blues is mad because there's no other. It's not on religious terms. No. It's not on social terms. Well, despite what the Blue Noses would make you think that they're the working class club and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Look, like in terms of fan base. There's
not much in it.
There's not much in it. There's not much in it. Yes, we've got more fans that are more from out of town. People like myself as well. Which they use that as a badge of honour for them, saying, "Oh, you don't drink in the city centre on Derby Day."
It's just tough.
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
It is, and
but
again,
it's just hatred. Football in hatred.
Yeah, the only thing you've got is about that idea of the name. Where they got the city's name, which was always looking for my dad. I was like, okay. So we could have been, I remember some clearly not local councillor at Birmingham saying, well, I think maybe they should consider changing their name to maybe Birmingham Villa or something like that to bring the city's name in. Like, no, you can't do that. The problem now, you think about, and the sad thing is, you think about Birmingham, you think about Blues, you think about the other team, rather than our own city. But then Aston was its own place. It was Birmingham's quite a new city. So Aston and Birmingham were more comparable in terms of size, up until Birmingham, industrialisation, the boom. But in terms of football teams, again, it was Small Heath.
It was. So that gentleman's agreement between the two clubs, and that none of them would have the name of the city in their name. And shock, which one went against their name? Well, it certainly wasn't. And to be honest, I wouldn't have any other way because we've glorified on the pod already. Our name is unique in footballing heritage and footballing folklore, and you see that from someone from Mars that's just come down to earth for the day and looking at the football teams, they say Aston Villa. It's not immediately clear as to where they are, but that's part of the mystery. That's part of the mystique of why we are Villa fans. It's just
it's interesting.
Name. Beautiful colours, beautiful club, and then every now and again we have to drag ourselves to the dark side for 90 minutes, and it is. I'll be careful because there might be some people from that area that are listening in. I doubt it, to be honest.
No,
it is an experience. That's a polite word, isn't it? It's an experience. Okay. Just
to pause a bit on that point, like I've mentioned, obviously in the early podcast, I talked about Doug Ellis, and he was involved in both teams, which comes up later actually. You made a point about fans where they sit and how it got tough and when did it get so big in terms of a rivalry. But he just wanted to experience football and wanted to be a part of football, and he was involved with both clubs. But for all the stick we give him, I think people do realise that he was trying to sensibly also run a business. Now, he could have speculated to accumulate. He could have put himself out there a little bit more, but it wasn't his way.
Yeah.
Instead, he had a strong stewardship for many a year, keeping the club at a solid point, and our infrastructure was such that even without Randy Lerner coming in and putting some more money into it, and now with Sir Wearis and Edens building the complex up at Bollymore and doing more to the ground, he did refurb us here and there. He did keep us up in the conversation, even if we weren't necessarily smashing it on the footballing terms. Yeah. We were competitive. We were up there, like you say, solid. You never feared about Villa. It was a case of, right, can we win some cups at least? Now, okay, not enough for some people. It's not ambitious. I get that. But considering where clubs can go, and I keep referencing the teams, it's that idea where, the thing is, you go to Blues, right? You go to the old Blues club shop. You go to their ground. You just feel a sense of, historically, you've not had the same gates, the same amount of money, same support, and therefore the same infrastructure. That's why it feels like a bit divided. That's why they feel like the red-headed stepchild.
Look down on, don't they?
Because they don't have the same coffers.
Sort of mentality almost. That
which is different to Rangers Celtic, because they're both the biggest clubs there in Glasgow.
Yes.
Both technically therefore have made money, and it's more comparable and equal. Like now, with their money, Man City, Man U. I mean, it's ridiculous, Man City. No one's on their level in terms of finances. Besides from Newcastle now, maybe.
Oh,
but
don't get me started.
In terms of Manchester,
don't get me started.
The same sort of thing. Well, yeah, it's
yes,
horrible game.
Yeah, I mean, but you raised a couple of points about Doug Ellis, and I think, and true with Ron Saunders as well. Don't forget, he coached the Blues as well.
A lot of people jump back.
They did.
Steve Bruce jump back and forth,
and I think
Costa Divide.
You mentioned, and as well, ultimately, as passionate as we are as fans, ultimately, for some people, it is literally just a job. You know, I mean, Ron Saunders from Liverpool, wasn't he? From Scouts, didn't he? I imagine growing up, he wouldn't, be rocking up to Villa Park every other week, would he? So,
but it was local.
It's a job. Yeah, it's a job.
There's a whole number of these, mate, who've done it. Liam Ridgewell toured, and in fact, Kevin Phillips. They all toured all the local teams because they had a family, they were settled. It was more important to stay local and be comfortable enough than to say, oh, no, they're a rival with my previous team. And history books are full of them. Gareth Barry ended up going to West Brom.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
All of them. At the end of the day, you don't just stay at one club now, but also you're a commodity. So the club might say, right, you're off, even if you don't want to go. So it's not in your hands. And then it's about, okay, well, who's the best team for me right now? Who's competitive? Where do I want to be? So there is that. So there's two sides of it. Ultimately, it is a sport, and people shouldn't be fighting or risking their lives, in essence, battling over it. But you want to feel like it is. It wants to matter that much that you feel like.
That's the thing. That's ultimately why. I can't speak for myself, but that's ultimately why I'm a football fan, because it's that feeling that you can't describe. You can't put it into words, mate. Like I say, that I joke about it being in the pub it's 4 a.m. Obviously, I'm not, But on Derby Day, you get that sense of, and I'm not a massive drinker, mate. I'm not. I have a bottle of wine every now and again. But on Derby Day, and the missus looks at me like, "Are you mad?" I was like, no. Aston Social's open at 7, so I'm getting there for 7. I was like, you don't get up that early for when you go to work. How on earth are you getting there for 7? I was like,
it's different. It's like
Derby Day. Are you serious? Are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just don't understand. They just don't understand.
They don't.
They won't listen.
Have you described it as being akin to like Boxing Day sales?
You know what? I never. I suppose.
You never cared.
Yeah, I mean, Boxing Day for me was always Upen today. It's a football day. But I imagine for some people
they can't get the thing. Why are so invested? They say it's daft.
That's the thing.
They're passionate about their kids. It's the reason is like their first painting. I'm like, no, they put their hand into a splodge of paint that you put in front of them. That's not their first painting. Like.
To be fair, when my daughter Ellen, she got she did bring back it was a Father's Day card, so I blubbed at that. I was like, whoa, that's good. I
can't believe she wrote all that and made that card.
But if it was on Derby Day, I'd rip it up and like, what are you doing? Right, I've got to get out here. Pub's open at 7. Right, let's go. Let's move on to it.
I will just say, Vic, you don't have to destroy the card. You could say that. You could just put it down.
I choose to put it down.
And I'm going out now.
Yeah, true.
I will take time to read it later, darling. Daddy's got more important things right now, though.
Right now.
There's going to be a Father's Day every year. there isn't necessarily a derby day every year.
And there isn't because they're that bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
Which is it's mixed joy, isn't it? It's great that they're not, but also you do miss the battles.
We'll come on to all of that, I'm sure.
Okay.
After this game. Let's go through this game.
Let's go to the game.
So much more to add.
Have we got a bit of footage? Not of the game, but of like the players talking about it?
Possibly.
So you try and get it up. That's what she said. I'm going to go through the game. The information I got to hand.
So I've got to rewind now.
Professional.
But all they talk about, I have seen it. All they talk about, Gordon Cowans talks about a dodgy pen. Because it just comes after the Man United game where he scored a pen at Man United in that 3-3 draw.
Right, so pause it there. So we'll hear it out because I think that's interesting for listeners, right?
Okay, we'll crank up the volume.
So what I'll do is let me just describe the situation. Then we'll listen through all this
audio,
and then we'll stop. Okay,
go.
So Saturday, the 11th of October.
I'll have a drink.
Oh, okay.
It's Derby Day. It's Derby Day.
No, kiss it. No, right, hold it up horizontal. I'm helping him again, listeners.
Yeah.
Right,
and
then
now I've got the wearing.
You haven't quite tilted. What are you wearing?
No, the noise.
You've gone too excited. Stop! You've messed it up already.
It's Derby Day.
Right, isn't it? I'm gonna have to take a photo. That is shocking.
We're not photoing. It's Derby Day. Come on,
right. You're shocking.
Come on. Okay. Come on.
It's Saturday, the 11th of October, 1980. We're away at Birmingham City, down at St Andrews.
Smallest Alliance. Use their name properly.
With an attendance of 33,879, which is decent, actually, to be fair, comparison to some of the numbers I mentioned.
From the footage, at least half of them are Villa.
Probably. Because that's the difference, isn't it? So South Birmingham Aston Villa fans rather, who might have struggled to travel before, might have walked up. DC is starting, so again, that slight bit of rotation, primarily at the fullbacks. It's still happening. Manager was Jim Smith, who had gone to manage Derby. That's the only way I was familiar with him myself. And Blues at this point, so they had a bit of a run in top flight. 77, they finished 13th. 78, they finished 11th. But they plummeted then in 79, finishing 21st when they were relegated down to Division 2.
Good
as it was.
Good.
But they bounced straight back up. They finished 3rd and were promoted at the end of 1980 and found themselves back in top flight just in time to see us eclipse them with our league title win. So I won't go into the score. Do you want to play the footage?
Yeah, so it might be a little bit of an overlap because I think they're still talking about Man United, which we didn't say in the last pod. Man United scorers for our
we did say
for our glory listeners. McElroy penalty 35. He scored another one on 57, and Koppel scored one on 36. Villa scorers we talked about with Shaw and Cowans with a penalty on 55 minutes. And the penalty theme will continue because that's what we're talking about now.
Unbelievably, there wasn't a single TV camera in the ground.
So that's the United game.
Cowan's spot kick prowess was needed again in a tense derby clash at St Andrews.
I do remember that penalty, yes.
It's a bit of a bizarre one, wasn't it? No one really knew what it was for.
No, nobody did. I don't know whether it hit somebody's hand or what was given, to be honest. But thankfully I stuck it away, and it's always doubly nice to stick one away against the Blues.
Derbies are always difficult, no matter where, even if the team that you're playing against is struggling at the bottom of the table. It doesn't matter, it's a local derby and passion's always higher, desire's always there, the fans get into it. And as you say, so many derby games that took a big effort to, and I think it shows the achievement we made, in as much as we were successful in most of those derby games and then went on to win that league, and it was a hard league to win.
You can practice as much as you want on the training ground, but once you're out there in it, there's a crowd baying like they are and there's Blue supporters hammering you, you just get on and just concentrate on what you've got to do and pick your corner, and that's what I did, and like I said, thankfully it went in.
I think it was 1-1 each going into the last 5 minutes. We had a free kick and it really the ball bounced in the box. I swiveled with my left foot and put it in the top corner, and that's probably the one goal that sticks in my mind more than any other.
We'll come to his goal in a minute. But basically, they're talking about the first penalty, which, Gordon Cowans is a bit confused by it. I think it did take me a couple of replays. It did, but it looks like ultimately the Birmingham defender who's on the post at the moment currently, and he can again watch all the footage on Villa Boy. He seems to be affronted by not being allowed to catch the ball from, I believe it's Alan Evans trying to head it in. In fact, should we just rewind a touch and then watch the footage, shall we? So we'll watch the footage together. So,
do you want to listen to the commentary or us?
I mean, the commentary's just going to say what we're looking at. Yeah. This guy here. So, I mean,
there's a push, but they mentioned a handball.
So, right, ignore the commentator. He's just pleased to be there. You know what I mean? It's Derby Day. It's Derby Day. So, if we just watch it again, I will highlight your attention to the geese on the post. And again, Villa Boy footage. If you're watching the full edition, we're at 21 minutes. That's the full length. Full length video.
Season review.
21 minutes on the button. So, corner comes in from our left. From left wing, so in swing from the right side. Taking short to Mortimer.
A laid off corner, which they seem to do a few times. Short
corner.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Change the ankle, maybe to try and entice the people on the post off their line. Ball's whipped in, it's like
high,
very high. I mean, it's got snow on it. It's come down. McNaugh, that's the one. So here's a header, which is saved, parried kind of not very far away.
Back towards him.
But the defender on the post, and this is the far post from where the corner's taking. Yeah, I mean, so Manort's gone in for another. It looks like he's nutted
back into the ball.
It looks like his head butted him in the face, but the defender seems to have used both hands. Well, you can't really tell from the angle we've got, but that's the
ball comes away anyway.
That's the logical explanation. The commentator starts talking about a push, which is I've not seen one at all.
Unless it's that pushing the ball away.
Maybe could be could be. We'll play it on and we'll see the pen. So it takes a while. Great hair, by the way. Who's that?
Well, the bald fellow with the hair at the back of him.
Yeah.
How about that? So you go.
Oh,
he catches it. He catches it, pushes it away.
Mate, that was a defender forehand. That was.
Well, that should be a sending off.
Possibly. I mean,
surely it's basically Gaelic football.
You know about that. You know about that. Yeah. Anyway, Cowan steps up.
Ball into your chest.
In step to the bottom right corner. Keeper goes the wrong way. And it looks to be, now this is all dependent if the camera's in the same way, but it looks to be in front of the Tilton, which I've got a few anecdotes about later on.
Is that B&B advert?
And also, just interesting, we could pick this up off there, didn't we?
Which one's
Look at the reaction of the crowd
the fans,
in the Tilton. Because definitely...
Yeah, mixed reaction.
I'm second guessing now. Is that the away end? And they're just a little bit more polite than what we are.
The thing is, teams change where they stick their away fans. I know we did.
They do. Yeah.
But I know. So if Ant was here,
he would know.
Well, he wouldn't. He knows.
Oh, he wouldn't.
He's used us. But he talked about his first game.
Yeah.
And I think it was a friendly. Went to a Villa Blues game. And friendly, but it was all mixed. He was there in full Villa gear, and they were still there mixing even in the 90s.
It's just took on something else, isn't it? It has.
And again, rugby fans, so everyone keeps saying, no, it's lovely, you can sit with your opposition fans. No, I don't want that. How can I sing and get into the spirit if I'm surrounded by people with the team? How can I enjoy it? Especially if I've got a ticket on my own. So there are a few occasions where, take the Celtic game I mentioned earlier.
Yes.
I didn't need to be sat with my father-in-law, my brothers-in-law.
No, you don't.
I was already with my people.
Exactly.
I'm with the Celtic fans. Doesn't bother me one iota. I don't need them.
It's one. Cause I noticed some people on Twitter on this as well. But there's one girl on Twitter who said that she loves the Villa and she wants to go, but there's that self-conscious almost like that taboo that if you go on your own,
it's weird.
One of the best things I ever did was do a game on my own, because when I was at uni I was just like, well, there's not many people here that support Villa. I love the Villa. I'm going. And as soon as you walk through the turnstile, it doesn't matter. Who you're with. Doesn't matter if you're on your own. Doesn't matter if you're with 50 people.
Yeah.
Does not matter, because as soon as you're in the ground, you're with 40,000.
Well, it's funny how you can strike up a conversation with someone.
Exactly.
A bit like in the pub or things like that, where you might know someone, or you know them vaguely through something, or haven't I seen you? And you strike up a conversation.
You'll never know. You might rock up next to me, and then I'm going,
it's Derby Day. Yeah. It's not Derby Day today.
Oh yes, it's Fulham.
You're still talking about it. Just excited.
Oh, I've got a great. I follow him in this league.
No, that point.
Okay,
just use it.
So much. Oh, yeah, I've got to wait. Right, we're playing. We're playing.
This is the Derby episode.
This Derby episode. We're on 24 minutes, mate. It's gonna be an hour. Right, roll the tape. So Blues in the attack now.
First shot.
Oh,
second shot.
Yes. Right, we need to speak about this. Ainsko, I think his name is. How on earth How on God's earth is that a penalty? I mean, I'll let you to watch it again.
Yeah, please.
So the ball comes in. Okay.
So he has two shots. First one on his left.
From the left-hand side. Ainscough takes a touch, and then I'm not sure the defender is. Is that Evans again? No, he looks blonde.
No, so is McNaught. So McNaught's running in. So that's Evans on him. No,
or it could be a wing back.
On him, that's Evans there.
Could be a wing back. Anyway, go back up. So that's the penalty. Blah, blah, blah. Crowd loving it.
Sid. Right, here we go. Off the left, chipped it in. Got a bit of a half on his left, turned round, tried his right. It's Evans who gives away the penalty, must be.
How is that a penalty? He could not took more of the ball. He got the opposite side to Cowans, bottom left, Frank Worthington, who is an absolute baller, by the way, in that era.
Rock his moustache. Yeah,
absolute baller, Frank Worthington. I mean, some of the goals there's that famous one where he sort of chested it down. Was it Bolton Ipswich? And he scooped it back over his head, and the whole defensive line just
Well, they even named a trophy after him. Do you remember the Worthington Cup?
They did. Did he have shares in the brewery as well?
I think that's what the connection was.
I think that was
the
joke.
Thanks to that.
Anyway, 1-1.
Yeah.
Second half, and this for me is contender for goal of the season. For a Villa point of view, anyway.
Well, so just to point out, it was the 49th minute that the Blues scored their penalty.
Yeah.
So it was already in the second half. So we went into half time, 1-0.
And we're getting towards...
They pulled it back straight away, so for typical...
Yeah. And we're getting towards Gabby time, aren't we? Because this is the 83rd, isn't it? Is it 83rd minute?
85th.
85th minute, so it's peak Gabby time, this is. And I don't think Gabby could score a goal like this, to be honest. See, that's the way, isn't there?
Beauty. Yeah, that explains it.
It is.
Seats.
So that's got to be the tilt in the first. The end he scored it is the railway stand end. And, I mean...
So, that is...
I'll pause it there. Right.
I need to see this because Alan Evans scores it, right?
Yeah.
So again, you've got your defender scoring, but why is it there? Unless they're doing a bit of a samba, send your defender up there.
Maybe.
You know, David James up top.
1-1, it's a little bit of a risky situation because you're thinking it 1-1 away from home.
Yeah.
Have what you hold.
It's not even extra time, but it isn't that long. But it shows how much he wants to win.
But then again, is it a free kick? I'm pretty sure it's just coming from a free kick. Sorry, guys. I mean, we're going back and forth here, more like a tennis match.
That's me doing it.
Yeah. So free kick. Get your big man up. Yeah, true.
Launch at the top. Chested tried to chest it by Shaw. It flicks into Alan Evans, and he spins on the spot. So Shaw tries to chest it. It basically goes over him, and spinning, following the ball is Evans, who then scores it.
Defensive perspective. That's an absolute shocker. You've let a ball travel, 60 yards, and you've let it bounce. And then you've got one of the most diminutive players on the pitch, Gary Shaw.
I was pouring a pipe.
Shock. He's going to do it really good now, isn't he?
It's not a competition. If it was, I'd be winning.
So, dear, we poured it. If it was combination of pouring it away...
Yeah, I'll drink out the jip tray.
Right, get out to the game. So, Gary Shaw, the most diminutive player, they've allowed him to almost try and chest it down. I don't know if he's took a bad touch, but he can't chest it down.
It's too strong a bounce. It goes away from him.
He's sort of gone away from him, and then Evans is just... Well,
He's spun
on right, left foot, caught it so sweet, and it's gone what I call postage stamp. You know, where you put postage stamp on a letter, boom, top corner.
Yeah.
Absolute glorious. But let's hear what the man has to say about himself.
This is Tony Morley.
Tony Morley speaking, waiting for the beer thing to now shut up.
Her name's the Blade.
Well,
Blade.
She needs to just shut up. There we go. So this is Tony Morley talking about, I think, the game in general. So let's crank up this volume.
It's about derbies, isn't it?
Here we go.
7 local derbies. If you go to Nottingham, to Coventry, to Forest, to Stoke, to obviously the Blues, I think we took maximum points, apart from maybe drawing at West Brom and beating them at home. If I'm correct, you might get me wrong, I think Ipswich that year dropped 3 points. It was 2 points. They dropped 3 points that season against a team that got relegated, and that was Norwich, their local derby. So a lot of people have always forgotten how many local derbies we had to win. It was a phenomenal record considering how many. And if you look at Forest on the road, we're European champions, so they weren't going to be a rollover. West Brom could hold their own with anybody. Blues are never going to give you anything anyhow. Stoke was always a tricky ground to go to. All your top teams go to Stoke and always get beat. So Coventry always had hard team at home. Leicester very, very fit under, was it Jock Wallace? I think it was Jock Wallace, the manager. So they're really very, very tough local derbies. But we came out. That to me was the highlight of the season. Really winning so many local derbies, because if you've been a pro player, they're the hardest games to win. And to have 7 and to win your league is phenomenal.
So there's a couple of points there. One. He just lists the amount of local teams or local-ish teams in the league.
They're all Midlands, not that local. Do you know what I mean? So it depends. It's perspective.
Yeah.
So Stoke have got Port Vale. So the Wise family are from Uttoxeter. They've got people who support Derby or support Stoke as their sort of bigger teams that we follow, rather than Burton Albion, which they might now follow because they're doing decent there. But we wouldn't be thinking of those as rivals. But even I mentioned again earlier in the podcasts, talking about Brian Clough. He'd done the East Midlands, Derby and Notts Forest. He was interested in Villa in terms of the Midlands. We don't think of the Midlands so much anymore. We do separate it very much into East and West.
Yeah, but I think you're missing the point there. Like, it's not always to us, but to them. I mean, I grew up in Leicestershire. Leicester fans, Derby fans, Forest fans. Yes, they've all got the main rivals, but then when Villa comes down, it's like... I mean, I don't want to be too arrogant about it, but we are the big fish in this neck.
So why is that? Is that the history? That's what I'm saying.
It's a Midlands derby, so there's always an edge. And I remember seeing pretty much going to Villa Leicester every year. Martin O'Neill was at Leicester, and we used to lose every single one. And honestly, their fans absolutely, it was like they won the World Cup. And that's not a disrespect. That wasn't me. It's not me disparaging that. It just goes to show.
Yeah, good run at the time.
But what he mentioned there was really interesting. That in terms of local derbies, we had to face so many of those teams, and not just around it, but Wolves, West Brom, Blues. That's probably one of the only times in recent years where, or very few times where all of the main Midlands clubs are in the same league. So every single one of those games is an absolute knife edge competitive. Yeah. Ipswich, bless them, they've got Norwich.
Yeah.
There's 2 games a season, and as Tony Morley points out, they dropped points, and that was ultimately crucial.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah.
Right? Are we? Oh, this is the bit. Come on.
Go on. Okay. So we have spoken generally about derbies. We've spoken about the importance or the weight behind the Second City Derby, as it tends to get called on Sky Sports, and. We spoke about the game. Sorry?
We're second to no one, by the way. But carry on.
So that's second to Manchester. Shout out to Adam Grimshaw if you're listening, mate. Who's bronze now is what I'm going to say. Commonwealth Games.
Also, we've got a big bull in our city centre.
We've got 2 now.
Smokes.
2
we've got 2.
Yeah. We've got a moving one and a non-moving one.
An angry one with smoke.
How many balls has Manchester got?
Bullshit.
No.
Okay.
Talk it.
But yeah, right.
So we've talked about the game. We've talked about derbies in general and the weight of the Second City Derby. I think
up for this bit.
You're lively. So now we're going to talk about our own Derby Day, Villa Blues memories. So should we start with our worst memories? Is that some place to start? The worst things that we can recall.
I mean, you could say it was quite fortunate. But I when the Blues came up, I didn't go to either of those 2 games.
Right.
Which is quite a blessing.
Yeah.
One, probably a bit too young. Mm-hmm. I was still in sort of, what was I, GCSE?
Yeah, teenage years.
GCSE, sort of latter teenage years. And also, not growing up out of town a little bit, it was difficult to get to. And trying to get your mum to give you a lift at a game like that.
Yeah,
no chance. So I watched them both on TV. That's up there with the worst. In terms of physically being there, I think the Stern John moment was a wounder with the 2-2. Well, we've played them off the park. With Hitzelsberger smashed one in to make it 2-0, and you're thinking, happy days. This is an absolute scenes. Like, this is incredible, because that was the first time that we'd gone ahead since they'd come up, because they'd come up, beat us twice, okay, and then the next season we drew 0-0 at St Andrews. Sorry, at the Stye. And then at Villa Park, we went 1-0 up with Vassell and then 2-0 up with Hitzelsberger. And you're thinking, absolute happy days. And then somehow, in the 99th minute, Stern John just... that's one of the worst ones. But I think, ultimately, the biggest wound is that League Cup game. So we had... It was the League Cup, I think it was quarter-final. And there was snow, there was ice... It was horrendous. I mean, there were snowball fights before the game that turned into ice fights, that turned into stones being lobbed at people.
Sounds like
and it's one of the it was Houllier years where we actually started to play some decent football, and we actually had like a decent squad, decent players. And that night, we again, my memory of the game is that we absolutely battered them. Like, we conceded a pen early doors, then Gabby scores to make it 1-1, and we're absolutely pummeling them. Like, we should be out of sight, and then the closer and closer it gets to the 90th minute, every now and again they had a sporadic attack, and one of them I remember just the ball just arcing from the right hand touchline, and then this massive Serbia, was it Zigic?
Zigic, yeah.
And,
hero.
But then again, he messes up the header. He messes it up so bad that Friedel, all he has to do is just stay still and catch it. But because Friedel's committed and thinks he's going to have a clean contact, he's got to commit, and he's overcommitted. And then it's bringing back so much. And then obviously the pitch invasion, the smoke bombs, the fireworks, the people with balaclavas just shouting at you, and. Fortunately, we just got away. We just managed to get away and get back to the jewellery quarter. Our other mate had to stay back because that's when they just stopped the fans leaving. So we were there for he was there for a good hour and a half, 2 hours. But fortunately, within probably within about 30 minutes of that ball hitting the back of the net, we were in the jewellery quarter getting a pint of Guinness and just trying to calm ourselves down because that's probably the worst one. That's been
really horrible. Like, bring back all those memories. You shooting through all those.
It's therapy, mate. It's therapy.
The thing is, I suppose it is good to talk. Said Bob Hoskins.
It is.
And E.T. But I don't know, from a Blues fan's perspective. That said, Dave won a cup more recently than we have.
Well, it was that. It was that cup run.
That season, right?
It was that one, and it should.
And that's the thing they would point to now. Same as I've got my cousin's husband, who's a Leicester fan. Who's like, well, in our lifetime, who's seen their club win more?
Yeah.
Okay, Leicester, fair enough, and been more successful, fair enough, technically, but it's just the weight of a name and that importance, and that, which is what Villa are. But it is a lot on legacy and history, and you think back to recent times, and when you are Blues, of course you're going to be gunning for your big brother. And it's like that, isn't it? It's like sibling rivalry. Well, do you know what? Yeah, you might be older than me. Doesn't mean that I can't have you.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of feeling.
It is,
They had their moment, and you don't want to give them that moment. They're doing it. But again, look at it now. It feels like, it reverts back to the natural order.
It does. And the thing is, as sporadic as they are, the derby days now, it's not... for us, as Villa, it's never a case of elation and euphoria, even though that's what it manifests itself like that in the matchday experience, because that's what it feels like. But the overwhelming sense is just relief.
Yeah.
Because that whole week, them mouthing off, and to be fair, we'll mouth off as well, and all that noise, and the phone-ins, and all this noise propagates itself into something that's just like far bigger than it actually is. Because ultimately, it's just two teams in a city playing each other again.
But generally, go for 3 points.
It's just it's just 3 points on the table, but it means so much more to that. It means so much more, and so all that noise, and ultimately, if and when they lose, inevitably they'll say, "Well, we should be losing because you're Aston Villa, you got all this money, blah blah blah." And so it's just relief. It's just a case of sit down in your
we haven't got the same excuses, as it were.
Get in your
excuses.
Absolutely.
So, right, look, have a sip of your pint, right? Let's flip the switch. Let's change up the script.
Yes. Yeah.
Positive, happy Villa Blues memories.
Okay, so let's go most recent.
Okay.
The most intense, because of what it meant, and because of the shenanigans that happened on the pitch, was our Super Jack with the 1-0.
Yeah.
That was... I'm just thinking about it now, mate. I'm just like...
We should watch the highlights now and talk through it.
Shaking. Possibly, mate. But
That's
like,
what we should do.
I mean...
You do it.
Because at the start of that game, obviously, we were at the start of our 10-game winning run at that stage.
Oh, of course.
Okay?
The Green Reaper.
Because we beat Derby. That was the first one. And then Blues was... I'm pretty sure Blues was the second game in the sequence. Right. Or there might have been another home game before that. But either way, it's quite early on. So at this stage, most Villa fans are like...
It's another season, mid-table. We've been bought, maybe next year.
Absolutely. You know, it's not going to happen for us, blah, blah, blah. I've still got proof on my WhatsApp chat with my Villa boys. I was the only one that believed. Because
really?
Super Jack was obviously injured since the Baggies game, and he came back against Derby as captain, and I said, we're going up. And unfortunately, I'm not a betting man, because if I was, I'd make quite a bit about it. But yeah, I said, we're going up, and I even said, look, like, Super Jack's back, we're going up. And then that moment when he gets hit with the fan, we didn't even know what was going on, because we were at the end of the pitch. We saw this guy run on, then absolute melee. For a horrible moment, I thought that something more serious had happened, that he'd been like stabbed or something, and it was just it was just carnage. It was absolute carnage. And like the bit that gets me is that the whole Tilton were just, they saw it happen and they were just applauding it.
Yeah.
But I mean, because then again, I'm not sanctimonious enough to think that it wouldn't happen at our end, because of course we're going to have our wrong-uns. We're going to have our wrong-uns, of course we are. But it was. Well, it just made the goal even more special.
It made it sweeter. Of course it does. Of course it does.
And I was just trying to find it now, because it's just going to bring back...
I think that's worth going through.
So, it was a throw-in initially.
So things are, do you want to watch all the highlights or just the goal?
So we've got the incident here of the puncher. And what I love about it is all the Villa players just pile in.
Yeah.
I think...
when
you wouldn't mess with Tyrone.
No.
And your Axel as well, I think, was... Look at him there.
Yeah.
And they were saying on the phones afterwards that they were booing it, blah, blah, blah. They're not. No. They're not. Whelan's in there. Tammy! Look at Tammy! Yeah. He's flying in there. Oh my God. You just think it was... From that angle as well, it looks like something's in his hands that he's about to sort of stab him or something. So here's the goal. Out to Neil Taylor, into Jack Grealish, just shuffle, and then just
left so slow. It travelled so slowly.
It made it even better.
Yeah.
Because if he just smashed it top in, it would have been instantaneous. Yeah. But and also, by the way, I'll just rewind it a tiny bit. Do you recognise the current Villa player? Do you recognise the current Villa player? Wait for it. There.
So obviously it's Ramsey.
It is.
Yeah.
It is Jacob Ramsey. JJ, who was actually, he made his debut that season.
Yeah, he made his debut that season. But there he is with the fans.
The one word I can describe it is just, and it's often said before, but just limbs. Like just utter carnage. Yeah. Utter carnage.
Like I say, you always want to beat them. And at that point where we've been stuck in the Championship for a couple of years and you're starting to think, maybe this is us. Maybe, Newcastle managed to keep escaping. You think, why can't we? Of course Villa don't. Of course Villa let themselves soak the drain, fall down the drain, and then struggle to get themselves back up out of it. And you're there now, another chance to beat the Blues. You think, right, okay, here we go. And say the thumping, all that kind of stuff. You think, we're just at that level. It's just down in the mire, rather than at top level Premier League with good football, with quality. And that was that. No, we are, and we will be again.
I think that's the moment where, I wouldn't say everyone, but one or two started to believe that, we got our talisman back, we got Jack back, and we've got a chance. And to be honest, on that 10-game run, I'm thinking specifically the Rotherham game in particular, that was mad. It's just incredible, and it's almost like it was just fate. And that whole year is quite really special for me, because I got married the day before the playoff final.
Was it?
Yeah.
Flipping hell.
So my wedding day was the day before the playoff final, and it was almost like, and this sounds really weird, mate, but it was almost like a strange sense of just calm. Like I just knew it'd be fine. I knew it as soon as we got through.
In fairness, I think I agree with you. Because I went to that game, and I remember thinking, we'll win that. Now Derby had a decent team together there, and they played some decent football, but I didn't feel the fear. It's not like I was on a stag do for the final against Fulham, where we lost. It was really flat. And again, horrendous. There's a bigger sense of luck, or I don't know. When it came to that one, the team we had, the run we'd had, there's that confidence. Just felt like Derby won't be at it.
Well, don't forget. I mean, we smashed them 4-0 at Villa.
True.
We beat them 3-0 away.
Yeah, true.
So we knew that on our day, if we play well, they couldn't live with this, and that's what I kept saying.
Although again, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't an amazing game.
It wasn't.
And you think about those goals, like we had to battle for it. Was it off the shoulder for El Ghazi?
Well, I call it a textbook Andy Gray diving header. An inch off the ground, and he's gone. Do you know what? Instead of volleying it, I'll go for the header. And then obviously McGinn out jumping a goalkeeper, which was a bit strange.
Yeah, but just as well that he did battle and go for it, because it was important in the end, because it was 2-1.
It was, and that injury time, was it 6 minutes added on?
Yeah,
the longest 6 minutes of my life.
And even though,
and don't forget my wedding day was the day before that. So, but
I can't believe you got the pass. Is the big thing,
mate. Mad. Let's go back to Villa Blues.
Yeah, because
some more happy memories.
Because this is season 1. We're covering the league title win. We know, no spoilers, season 2 will be the European Cup win.
Yeah.
After that,
the
promotion season definitely a contender. The Coca-Cola Cup wins. It's up there with any league title win. League Cup wins.
I toured with the idea, didn't I, of how Aston Villa lost. Will be quite an interesting spin on the situation.
Yeah, and if you're interested, please let us know on the socials, Twitter, Instagram. Where would you like to see us go next in terms of coverage? Because we'll cover whatever. Like I say, we've jumped and moved around now.
Just talking about Villa, mate, is just anything about Villa.
It's just fun, and not current Villa, because everyone's doing that.
Oh yeah,
everyone's doing it. It's a celebration of all we are, just historically.
But we cannot go through a Derby Day podcast without mentioning a certain someone. I wonder if you can recall who that would be.
Well, is this a positive or a negative?
It's very much a positive.
Dion Dublin. With the headbutt.
Well, I mean that's one way of looking at it. I was thinking more of Sir Gabby of Agbono. Now, yes, we all know his limitations in terms of professionalism to some extent.
He was
dietary requirements.
I think O'Neill was frustrated by him but loved him. I think every manager after that was just like, you're an idiot. But he was undoubtedly talented. If you played to his strengths, he would get you results, get you goals. And okay, once he got to his 30s, he wasn't going to be the same player anyway. And he didn't have the same camaraderie with these managers to get the best out of him. Right. But you watch him there now, he's talks about it. Gabby's on TalkSport, and he's like, "Nah, you know what? Yeah." And he tells them, and he's like, Blues fans hate me because I was, and he. Highest scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
For us,
you can forensically look at his stats and think, oh my word, he's like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 player, and ultimately as a striker, I mean, if you're just in numbers, like if you're looking analytically and think, oh numbers, then that looks disappointing. But that's not what football's about for me. No. Football's about moments.
But he was just for a long time.
He gave me 2 of the greatest moments of my life. Yeah. The first one, I was sat in the Tilton. I was sat with a mate called Silent Tom, and his uncle is a Blue Nose, and there's no way of us, because at that stage we didn't have the away history. This was the 2007-2008 game, when the first game we had Nike. The first season we had Nike as a kid.
Right.
And it was the 2-1. It was the Ridgeway Lane goal. Then I think it was Forsell scored right in front of us, and because his uncle was a Blue Nose, the only way we was getting tickets was in the Tilton. Yeah. Okay, and so obviously for that goal for Forsell, we would have stood out like a sore thumb. Everyone's going ballistic round us, and there's me and him just stood there can't swear.
Strudel.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I was quite conscious about that. So I started having to like just swear everything under my breath, but also sort of jumping up and down as well. Like, but it all became worth it because 84, 85 minutes, Gabby time, as we talked about.
Yeah.
The direct opposite view of that railway stand going pandemonium. I think it was Ashley Young. Is it Ashley Young that whipped in the ball and the glancing header?
Yeah.
And
like, a few headers, Gabby. You forget.
Yeah, like in a weird way. Again, I've alluded to it before. There was just a strange sense, and I've never had it before or since in a derby game. There was a strange sense of calm. Like, I knew that the Blues had scored, and I think they had a really good chance. Well, Gabby cleared one off the line about a minute before he scored. And obviously they're all up, they think they've got a chance, they think they're going to win it. But they had this strange sense of calm, and I thought, we're going to get one more chance. We're going to get one more chance. And when that came, and when it went in, oh my God.
It's so hard. I've done it before, I've been in away stands, and things that you can sort of react, you can, because you can put your head in your hands, you could just be really frustrated, but you're doing really...
Yeah, absolutely. I know. And of course the other one, which was the 1-0, which was a turgid game, absolutely dreadful game. It was early in the season as well, still in like September, still in August I think. It was like the first or second game, which is very rare. You never really get a local derby sort of first day of the season, second day of the season.
No, you don't.
And it was very early on in the season, and then 1-0, right behind the header with mate Steve, ballistic, absolutely ballistic. So but there's so many to pick from because they're rubbish and we're good. And it's so
but that's it. The thing is though, for that time it wasn't, and I suppose if you're a blue nose stuck down there in the doldrums so many years, thinking what if and maybe and if we did, and it's that big brother who is patronising and rubs your head, and then you go, one day mate, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to be the same size as you. For them, coming up to the Premier League was that moment, and for them to come up and get those wins and all that kind of stuff, like and the cup win, and they had their moment. For us then to say, no, ultimately mate, you had your little moment, well done, nice, but back down you go, and sit back down. Things like the 5-1, whatever else, that O'Neill run, where it's like, right, no, we're going to reaffirm the boundaries, we're going to put you back in your place, this is the status quo, this is how it works in the Midlands and in Birmingham, and okay, we're still waiting for a true affirmation, a cup win, or whatever else.
Almost like a legacy event.
Something like big and notable.
Something that you can literally point at and say, we won that, okay, and you will not even dream of winning that.
Even with our blip and things like that, we're still there, 7th or 8th, whatever, in terms of like league title finishes, up with Everton for the most consistent top league placements. And okay, a lot of it is pre-World War One, World War Two, whatever. Fine. A lot of Man City's is post. It's in the last 10 years. But the point is that, and same for Chelsea, since they had the money, fine. It's a money game as well. But the point is that we are worth considering for money and to get somewhere because of what we've achieved historically.
Well, the proof is, our worst ever team, the team where we went down without any fight whatsoever, we still beat Blues. In the League Cup, 1-0, Rudy Gestead, we still beat them. And this is the thing, is like when we are at our worst, as like absolutely on our knees, we are bereft of life. It's like Monty Python parrot sketch. Bereft of life. We are deceased.
It's an ex-football team.
Ex-football team. Even then.
Hello. Hello, Aston Villa.
Hello. Even then, at our absolute lowest of the low moments, they can come on, they can give it the big one, they can mouth off Amarvi Cross, Rudy Gestead, 1-0.
Amarvi, Jordan
exactly.
Amarvi.
Jordan Amarvi, and Rudy Gestead. And I'm worried about this now because obviously we got Bournemouth this week, haven't we? Bournemouth away, but we won that, and I thought, as I said on the pod already, I thought, scenes, Europa League, back then I think it was still UEFA Cup. UEFA Cup, minimum.
Yeah.
Went down, didn't we? Still get the Blues, but no.
Things though, you mentioned Bournemouth. What's his name? Gaffer there.
Yeah.
Shirts, ties, suits.
Scott Parker. Yeah. Does a lot of the street. Loves his streets interviews.
Yeah, streets.
Incredible footage.
Talking away.
Love that.
What a cliche. But he's already said that they've not done the business they need to be competitive. Fulham have done a Fulham. and done a Villa, and they've signed people and been busy with the workout. I don't know. Notts Forest have also done the same.
Forest similar, yeah. I think of those three, I think Forest have got the better chance.
But they've changed their team quite a bit.
It's so unknown. But then again,
they'll come back into Kieran Davis.
You've still got some drab. I mean, Leeds, it's a toss of a coin. Who knows if they're going to be amazing or terrible?
Yeah,
Everton, I think, are going to struggle big time.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Who is that? Tarkov's going to free.
Oh, Southampton.
Dwight McNeil.
Yes, I mean, he's got signing.
He's got like, one of the worst shots per goal ratios.
He has.
Now, okay, they're a different team, maybe, but Everton aren't particularly firing on all cylinders, so it's not necessarily going to help him to improve.
Yeah.
It really could go any which way. We've done some good business. We've got an unbeaten pre-season. It is just a pre-season, but it's the only indicator we have. We've got such competition in terms of centre-back. We've got decent positions in terms of full-back. Midfield is... There's players, there's options. They keep talking about Jared wanting one more.
Yeah.
We've got 2 quality strikers, although they're not necessarily performing. That could be setups.
Today, was it Tom Colomoose on Twitter?
Yeah.
Confirmed that Archer is staying in the building.
Yes, I heard. Yes. I actually saw a tweet of him with a padlock, and it's him in the Villa kit with the ball. And I think that's... You're going to start with 90% of the time you have one striker. If you have both, you've got 2 quality strikers there. You can alternate and rotate. If not, you've got Arch there as well.
And also, what's different this year? 5 subs. So he will get opportunities. Well, yes, there might be 5-10 minutes at the end of games, but hopefully, in certain games, touch wood, this weekend we'll be, in a good position come the 70th minute, and then you can bring him in and start. And he's the sort of player, that just needs a sniff of a chance.
And things like he'll keep running, he'll keep going, but burn him out. You don't do Michael Owen. Now he's already 20. He's already older than Michael Owen when he came on. But he'll be there, and say if he's got 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to prove himself, the opposition are tired. He's live. He's an unknown.
Absolutely,
come around and make an impact. But you've also got, going back to it, Buendia, who, let's say, he's got to favour Coutinho for the name, for the history. I don't agree with it. It should be on merit.
Would you play Buendia as an 8? So you have Kamara, which would probably be a holding mid. You could play Louise there, come injuries and so. But Kamara, chances are because of the armband, McGinn, and then one other, which could be Louise, Sanson, or Emi Buendia could reinvent himself as an 8 because he's got the pressing, he's got the physicality.
I think he's going to give away too many fouls. I think he's too eager. Yeah. I think he's too slow. When he's an attacking player and occasionally putting pressure on, fine. If he's in the middle, he's in the mix too often, therefore will too frequently make that mistake and therefore cost us in terms of cards. I think he's going to rotate him with Coutinho. He's going to try and think about saving Coutinho for certain games, or Coutinho's not making the difference, Buendia can come on and make the difference. It's if he gives him enough time. If over time, Buendia shows he's got more about him, you have to start doing it the way around, where Buendia starts and Coutinho comes onto a masterclass like he did with Man U, like his debut.
It's all about getting those players, Coutinho, Buendia, getting them space and how they engineer that space, and then when they're in that space, what can they execute? What can they create? But yeah, we veered off. I started off the pod all aggressive, all being the pub.
That's it. I just say, listeners.
And now I've just.
I will just say, listeners, Af is still standing. You've been standing. If he sounds like he's far away, from the microphone, it's because he is.
Yeah, I know. I've got a loud voice though. Thankfully,
you're projecting. Extra projecting now.
Projections
for the diaphragm.
Dram. But we are going to have to cut it short because I do need another week. So,
it's not cutting you short, mate. It's been possibly the longest podcast we've ever done.
And for one game,
I feel like you're competing with yourself.
I know. But yeah, I mean, we've gone for the whole. We're going for the whole season, and the longest pod we've done is for one game, and we still got the home game to come up. So we'll do all that again. We'll do all that again.
We'll have to rethink that because we've talked about it so much. You have to think about what we can talk about for that.
We'll just do it again.
They won't remember. They won't remember. Office reference, if you're not in on that. Right, it's been fun. I can't believe how much you stretched out, actually.
What are you doing? I was going to watch the come-off games, but it's 10:15. I've got family to go to meet.
They'll be asleep, don't worry about it. My kids are up crying and screaming, waiting for me.
They are. Oh no, it's... It's a reflection of me, sorry.
Right, okay. Af was at the window, worried that my wife was trying to tell me off, and it's a reflection of himself. Just to clarify, for those that don't know, Af and my wife do not look alike.
Yeah. Mate, that's a wrap. I'm out of here.
Right.
Get out of the stadium.
Thanks for listening. When we come back, we've got a good few games with lots of goals. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for listening. Up the Villa. You have been listening to the How Aston Villa Won podcast. Remember to subscribe,